Hi everyone, it's John from IWoT. Welcome back to another video, and today we're talking the rights of the Wheel of Time, its cancellation, who owns them right now, what's going on with it, and we're going to reference that infamous Reddit post that just came out the other day, and all those articles you're seeing popping up on your Facebook feeds, your Instagram feeds, Blue Sky, X if you still use it. Yeah, there's sort of a kind of a storm in the fandom right now. We're gonna talk about all of that. I'll give my 2 cents on it. Give you some new information. I hope not recent information, but new stuff that you haven't heard before. And we'll talk about what I think, and then we'll dive into a few other things at the end of the video. So if you love the Wheel of Time as much as I do, if you're excited about the prospect of more Wheel of Time stuff coming in the future, then consider making this your home for all things Wheel of Time. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and of course, folks, tell all your friends. All right. So the things at the end of the video that we're going to dive into, we're going to talk a bit about the short-term future of the channel. I can't give you much more in short term, folks, but we'll talk about that. We'll talk a little bit about my personal life and things that are going on right now. I recently released a post on Instagram and over on Patreon about it, so I figured I would do the same thing here on the channel because not everyone follows me on social media. It's something my family and I decided that it's okay to talk about here. So this Reddit post, I've left a link to it down below in the description box, and I've also left a link to an article by Fellowship of the Fans, sort of me for Lord of the Rings, if that makes any sense, talking about it. And essentially, it talks about Dragon Con, which happens in Atlanta, same place that JordanCon happens. And Jennifer Young, the co-founder and chair of JordanCon, was heard saying that the rights for the Wheel of Time show have reverted back to IWoT, and they are not looking for another streamer to pick it up. And that caused a shitstorm in the fandom. It really did, folks. People freaked out. Because they obviously want the show to continue. There is a Save WoT campaign going right now. People have put their time, blood, sweat, tears into this, their passion. Wheel of Time fandom is very passionate about this. And while everyone knew it was sort of maybe not a fool's errand to do it at first, but it was something that they needed to do. They love this show very much. They love what went on with it, and they want to see it continue going. They put a lot of time and effort into this. Billboards all around the world, multiple countries. Banner over their Amazon Studios. Major news publications talking about this, like everywhere. They did a really good job. So hearing this on Reddit really kind of demoralized the fandom a bit, especially like the Save WoT campaign's not done, but it's something that people had very much hoped would work. And it doesn't seem, at least according to the comments from Jennifer Liang, that it did. Now, I will say this. I 100% believe this in my heart of hearts. I do. I don't think it's incorrect in any way, shape, or form, because it sort of co-aligns, at least most of this co-aligns with things that I have heard months ago. Not recent news, folks. This is back April, May timeframe. But news that I haven't shared on the channel because I was asked at the time not to, because there was still a chance for things to carry on. But basically, how this worked is IWoT Studios, if you don't know who they are, they own the rights to the Wheel of Time for everything but the books. The books is Harriet, which is Robert Jordan's widow, Tor, Bandersnatch Group. They're the books. Anything new books that's happening, that they won't happen, but any new books that would come out would be through them. Everything else is through IWoT, which used to be a different company name. They changed their names a few times over the years, but essentially they're the same people. They own the rights to everything else. And this stems back to them having a business deal with Jordan and Harriet years and years and years ago. And it hinged on a couple of different things, and some things happened for them to retain the rights that didn't sit well with the fandom, and they kind of got into a fight with Jordan. There's a whole mess there. So they're not super popular in the Wheel of Time fandom, if that makes any sense. In the hardcore fandom, people that like watch my videos, that would be on Dragon Mount, that would be on the other YouTubers' Wheel of Time videos, people that attend JordanCon, people that would go to WotCon, those are the people that know the story, know what goes on, and that are kind of holding the grudge. For the very casual Wheel of Time fan, and I use that term loosely because I don't like using the term casual when it comes to Wheel of Time fan. If you like the Wheel of Time, you like it as far as I'm concerned. But if you're not as in tune to the fandom, you may not know any of the story and you may not care. But I've done videos here on the channel before, so I won't rehash all of the specifics. Just know that they're not really well liked by a lot of the fandom. But they are the ones responsible for the show. They're the ones that approached Sony with this idea of the show, and Sony picked it up, and they signed a contract with Sony. Sony then approached Amazon, because Sony usually doesn't do things on their own, and the show was made. That's a very simplistic way of putting it, but that's essentially what it boils down to, the Coles notes of what happened. I do know this. They had signed a three-season contract for Amazon and Sony to kind of co-produce this show together, with IWoT being sort of producers in the background as well. Not much control, not much, they weren't day-to-day hands-on on the ground, but they were still involved a little bit. So it's 3 seasons, and then they would renegotiate the contract, which makes sense. I mean, especially if you're doing contracts with multiple companies, they're not going to say forever. They want to renegotiate these things. These contracts were written in a time when it was sort of the golden age of streaming. They had more money than they knew what to do with. They were greenlighting things left, right, and center that maybe didn't make any sense, or maybe weren't as profitable as they would have liked. Things that would not get greenlighted in people's wildest dreams nowadays, if that makes any sense to you folks. They were being greenlit all over the place back then. So the wheel time, although very expensive, very large and ambitious, I think, in scope, they were like, yeah, no problem, let's do this. We got this. And then you fast forward after 3 seasons, the state of streaming in the entertainment industry right now, where everybody's pinching pennies and they don't want to spend any money, and they're like, oh, let's use AI for everything because it's cheap, and it's like we want to have shows that people can watch while they're on their phones because they don't really watch shows anymore. And they start pumping out garbage like War of the Worlds on Prime, which is basically a 2-hour Amazon Air advertisement. I watched it. Folks don't. Or The Electric State on Netflix, which is, let's put every star we know in this. And it's just terrible. So in today's day and age, the contracts are going to be very different. And I want to be upfront by saying the wheel time was successful, regardless of what you hear from people who didn't like the show. The wheel time was profitable for both Sony and Amazon. It did have a fairly big fan base, and it did very well. Season 1 broke some records. Season 2 and 3 did not. I'm going to be honest about that too. Viewership declined greatly after Season 1 for a whole host of reasons. Season 1 was plagued by a lot of different problems. Season 1 did not finish strong. It had some issues, folks. And then there was 2 years between Season 1 and Season 2. There was no advertisement. There was no huge push when it came back. Season 2 was better, but they weren't quite back to where they needed to be. Another almost 2 years, like a year and a half in between seasons. They sped it up at the end of it. Before we hit Season 3, no advertisement. Nobody knew it was coming. Season 3 was gorgeous. Best season of fantasy TV of any show ever, in my opinion. And I will stand by that. Not enough people, at least in today's day and age, watched it for Sony and Amazon to go, yeah, we're gonna carry this on. So they did try to start renegotiating the contract very, very early. So we're talking like during the filming of Season 3. It's basically decided back then that Amazon was not continuing with the show. There was a chance that could change based on how well Season 3 did. If Season 3 turned out to be a massive hit, of course there's a chance they're going to pick up the show and keep going with it. But they had decided that at that point, unless some major things happened, they weren't going to carry on with the show. So Sony shopped it around. Sony shopped it around then. They were looking at other streaming services to pick this thing up. And no one wanted it, folks. Nobody wanted the Wheel of Time for a couple of different reasons. One, it's too expensive. The show is, like I said, ambitious in scope. It was beautiful. It was gorgeous. It was amazing. It costs a lot of money. 2, you would have to figure out a deal, not just with Sony, but with Amazon too, because the first 3 seasons were done by Amazon. So that's a whole other bundle of snakes to deal with. Like, that's not fun. Not fun for anybody. I couldn't imagine how fun that'd be for the lawyers involved. That'd be yuck. But yeah, so it was this thing where Amazon might have changed their mind if Season 3 done huge numbers. Other streamers may have changed their mind if Season 3 did huge numbers, but Season 3 did much the same as Season 2. The numbers improved a little bit, but they weren't a massive improvement. Now, that isn't to say the show wasn't profitable and it didn't do well. It was profitable for everyone involved, and it did do well. And it was very well received. Season 3 was critically acclaimed. But in today's day and age, if something isn't a breakout, massive hit that makes tons of money immediately, people just drop things. Look at it this way. Sony had Netflix. Sony had K-pop Demon Hunters. They did. They sold it to Netflix for $20 million. They're like, this is going to be garbage. Nobody will watch this. It is the most watched movie on Netflix right now. And if you haven't seen it, go friggin' watch it. It's amazing. The fake K-pop bands in it. They're topping the charts. They're bigger than the big. You don't know what's going to be a big hit. And a lot of times these executives aren't really in touch with what people want anyway. So again, season 3 would have been a much bigger hit, done much better if they put the confidence behind it and the push behind it that they should have done for the product that was there, but they never did. I know at the time, Sony still had it, but there was a chance when I was speaking with some people at the time, back in like May, that if things didn't go well, and Sony still had appetite for somebody else to pick it up, but nobody wanted it. If things didn't go well, there was a possibility that IWoT would get those rights back. They were actively in negotiation at the time for that. IWoT was trying to get the rights back because they wanted the show to continue. They were very adamant at the time that they wanted to try to, in some way, shape, or form, continue the story that was in the show. That doesn't mean that maybe it would be the same, even medium, but they wanted to do something with the show to keep it going because they really liked it that much. And let's face it, folks, it was profitable, and the whole point of business is to make money, and they were making money on this. If they were losing money, they probably wouldn't have, but they weren't. They were making money. So at that time, the appetite was to get it back and try to do something with it. Now, this Reddit article came out and said that IWoT has it back now, and they're not looking at another streamer to pick it up. That's 100% believable to me, because right now you're talking months after the conversations that I had back then. So maybe they tried and they couldn't get anyone to touch it. It's entirely possible. I will tell you folks this. I have reached out to Larry Mondragoran over at IWoT. I have a very good working relationship with Larry. I've talked to him a number of times. He's been on the channel a number of times. I ever have questions, I ask him, and he's very upfront and honest about what he can and can't answer. Sometimes he'll say, yeah, these are the things. Other times he says, nope, can't tell you anything. And he's good like that. He's very good like that. So I've reached out and asked him for comment on this, and I want something official from him that I can put in a video for you folks. We'll see. If he gets back to me with some official statements, you'll see another video just like this one, talking about what he said. But right now I don't have that, so it's only speculation on my part, but I do believe what's happening. Does that mean we're not going to get the show in the future? I think the chances of getting the show in the iteration that we saw on Prime Video is pretty slim. It's not impossible. Netflix just picked up Halo after Prime canceled a year ago. The Expanse was picked up a couple of years after Sci-Fi canceled it. All the contracts for the actors and actresses were gone. Like it was impossible. What everybody thought was impossible, they made it work. So right now, yes, none of the cast has a contract with the show because the show doesn't exist anymore. So they're all doing their own things, and all the unknowns that started the show, and they were unknowns at the time, like Madeline Madden, Yosha Stradowski, Marcus Rutherford, all of them at the time when the show first started were essentially unknowns. They're now stars, and they're booking things, and they're doing stuff, and they're moving and shaking, their careers are launching, and great for them. Bad for the Wheel of Time, because to get them back would be difficult and costly. And then you have huge stars like Rosamund Pike. Hard to book in the first place. She loved the Wheel of Time. She loved her time there, and it was a passion project for her as well. But getting her back would probably be pretty difficult. Is it impossible? No. It's not impossible. Nothing's impossible, folks. You're allowed to have dreams. Is it likely? I don't think so. Is it likely we may see the show come back in a different iteration, in a different medium, in a different way, a different form? Yes, 100%. I don't know what that is. And I don't even think the people that have the rights know what that would be. But I know the appetite was there earlier this year. So hopefully it still is. And I plan on asking Larry those questions and hopefully get an answer, if that makes any sense. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that whole situation. Future of the channel and personal stuff now, folks. So if you are not here for that, then just let me know in the comments down below what you folks think about what's going on. Would you watch the show if it came back? Would you Here's a really good question. If they had decided to do a different medium, comic book, video game, cartoon, webtoon, for Christ's sake, anything really, like any of those things there, would you watch it? Would you have an appetite for those things? That's a very good question, at least in my opinion. So let me know in the comments down below what you folks think. So short-term future of the channel, folks. I haven't been posting much. I threw a spat 3 or 4 videos in a couple of days. And I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this, and then I go 2 weeks without posting something. It happened last time. I put out, I think, 3 videos in 2 days, and then it's been 2 weeks or 10 days since I posted something. So realistically, what you can expect to see from me, and this is a very realistic answer, is likely once a week. Maybe, if we're real lucky, twice a week, but probably once a week. And there may be weeks where I won't post at all. And that has to do with some things that are going on in my personal life right now, which we're going to get into at the moment. So I posted recently something on Instagram, and I also posted stuff on my Patreon about it. So if you folks follow me on Patreon, which, by the way, is free. If you want to support the channel on Patreon, please go do so. I would very much appreciate it. I don't post on Patreon very often. Right now I'm doing a reread of the series, and I've got 2 videos out there for chapters 1 to 4 and chapters 4 to 8 of the IWoT are there for a reread / read along series. And I posted, I think, 2 personal things of what's going on in my life. I'm going to continue doing that, but what I've done, because I don't post on Patreon very much, and I feel terrible for the people supporting me expecting content, is made everything free. So essentially you can go to my Patreon, not pay anything, and still see stuff, and still interact with the posts there and whatnot. If you want to support the channel, you can, but again, it's not expected, nor do I plan on giving things out for that support. Like, I'm not going to post extra over there because people are supporting the channel, if that makes any sense. And it'll still be pretty slow, a video here or there. So I've talked about this on Patreon, talked about this on Instagram, but essentially, earlier this year, my wife was diagnosed with cancer. At first, we didn't know what it was. I think when I announced it on Twitter, or X, I said it was lymphoma, because that's what we were told initially. It's not lymphoma. Being as September is Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, I think it's a very good time for me to say something about that. So my wife was eventually diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer. It has spread throughout numerous parts of her body, so bowel, lungs, lymph system, pretty gnarly. And being that it's Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, we're doing an Ovarian Cancer Walk on Sunday to promote awareness. And one of the things I want to say to you folks out there, if you know anyone at all that is at risk for ovarian cancer, have them look up the signs and symptoms. And if they experience any of them, don't ignore them. Listen to your body. If something doesn't feel right, it's probably not right, folks. Most of the symptoms of ovarian cancer can be attributed to perimenopause or menopause. They can be attributed to 1,000 other things. Because, folks, ovarian cancer isn't detected early, not normally. It's detected when it causes other problems in your body. So again, my wife, stage 4 was when she was diagnosed. It was pretty well advanced because it was causing havoc with other parts of her body. Thought she had pneumonia. Went to the hospital. She didn't have pneumonia. She couldn't breathe because of the cancer. So if you know someone at risk, please tell them. They're their own best advocate. They should fight for imaging, fight for testing, fight for all these things, because, folks, it's not something to play around with. And if you can detect it early, it's great. The other thing is the average age of people who are diagnosed with ovarian cancer is fairly up there. It's a lot older than me and my wife. My wife is very young to be diagnosed with it. So that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing in the fact that she's much stronger than the average patient physically. So there's that. But she's gone through multiple rounds of chemo, multiple surgeries. We've had multiple weeks stays in the hospital. She's died and was resuscitated. Like, there's reasons I've been posting, folks. It's been a lot for me and my family, a lot for her. Like, worst thing that ever happened to her in her life. A lot for the kids. So there's a lot going on with that. And there's the lack of motivation that goes along with it too. Like, all this stuff's going on. Do I really want to sit down and make a video? Like, this is fun. This is a form of self-care for me. I really enjoy it, folks. I really do. I like talking to you folks. I like making this. Nobody watched the videos at all. I put a video up and had 1 view. I said this for years. I'd be just as happy with that video as I would if it had 1 million views. Because I enjoy the act of making the video and the act of releasing the video. That's fun to me. Motivation hasn't been there, and I think that's justifiable. So there's a reason I've been posting that much, and that's why. So again, if you follow me on Instagram, that story pretty much word for word was on Instagram already. I posted about a bit in my Patreon, but again, I haven't said it here, so now you folks know as well, if anyone's looking for more information about that, why I haven't been around as much. So I want to end the video by thanking you all very much for all the support, the well wishes, the talk. I also want to put out a huge shout out and a big thank you to Matt Hatch and Anos, the innkeepers, as well as Lauren from Unraveling the Pattern, for all of the hard work they did for What Idle this year. I took a huge step back. I did nothing. Folks, I am admitting that publicly, and I've been very upfront with that this whole time. For What Idle this year, I didn't do a goddamn thing. I did nothing because I had other things on the go. They stepped up and they did everything. I showed up for the streams, folks. That's all I did. And I couldn't even show up for the last stream where they gave up the process because we had appointments and things going on. But they are amazing folks. They are pillars of the community, and they really put a lot of hard work into this stuff. And I want a huge shout out to them for all of the things they've done for the community and for me too. It was a whole lot of fun. I didn't even talk about it here on the channel. I don't think I advertised What Idle this year at all. Next year. Next year will be better. But anyway, yeah, I want to finish with saying that. Thank all of you folks for all the well wishes, all the things you've been doing, saying. Yeah, it's really meant a lot. And when I say the Wheel of Time fandom is statistically the best fandom in the world, I mean it. We're like a big family. Yeah, we have the crazy uncle that says the things that they shouldn't say and that you kind of don't want to talk about. Every fandom has those people. But by and large, this fandom is wholesome. This fandom is inclusive. This fandom is warm and welcoming and lifting each other up daily. And I'm very proud to be part of it. So I want to thank you all very much for that. So anyway, expect to see, I hope, a video or two in the next couple of days. I'm going to keep going on with my What Happens Next series. I'm going to do that right to the end of Memory of Light, I hope. So after season 3, what happens next for non-book creators who watch the show. I have 2 videos out right now, part 1 and part 2. It's going to go to like part 75 or something silly like that. They're difficult for me to make. It's not just a talking video like this. A lot of research, a lot of notes, a lot of things that I don't normally like doing for my videos goes into that, and they're harder for me to make. I'm still going to make them, but they take time, and it may take me a lot longer to put those out than I would like, but they are coming. They are continually coming. I have some more news videos coming out. There is a few new Wheel of Time projects and products out there right now that are coming out that I want to talk about here on the channel. For those of you who don't know, the Battle for Randland is a card game that is basically rebranded Cards of Eternity. New company, new everything else taking over, doing all kinds of new stuff for that. I have interviews with the devs and the CEO lined up. Some gameplay. I'll be able to show you folks some stuff from that. So that's coming too. Yeah, there's still Wheel of Time stuff, folks. Even if the show's not around, there's always going to be Wheel of Time stuff. So you'll see it here on the channel. Anyway, thank you all very much for sticking with me here to the very end, folks. Here's to many.